You win this battle, man, I'll soon be dead. I'll glue your face to my dick so I can fuck with your head. I got metaphors coming through my pores. You probably never been in a battle before, so I hope you realize your mistake. There ain't no party, got some candles, this won't be a piece of cake.
Folks, welcome to the Before Hours podcast, an internet radio phenomenon hosted by an occasional morning person. I ask the most interesting people I know about their sleep, their routine, life, love, stress, and setbacks, and whatever else comes to mind. If you want to talk to us, you may do so in one of two ways. One, email the beforehourspodcast@gmail.com, or you can slide into my DMs on Instagram. I'm Bobby Sheen, LOL. LOL, because you know I bring the laughter. But for now, we have a fellow comedian, a fellow Irish person, and our first guest since I've returned from Europe. It's Helen Wildy.
Hey,
how are you doing, Helen?
I'm great. How are you?
Thanks for coming on the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
You are in an elite group of comedians that show up on time.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yay. I feel like I moved to New York last year, and I feel like being in New York has made me much more punctual.
Yes.
Because it's like everyone's time is like,
Uh-huh.
Like I went to meet somebody and it was noon and I got there at like 11:59 and they'd been there for like 10 minutes and I felt so horrible that now I'm like 10 minutes early, I guess, is how we do it. Plus the trains, Yeah,
I feel like I heard this phrase. I think it's my uncle used to say it, and he was in the army. So I think it might be from the army.
Okay.
He said, hurry up and wait. That's the de facto, the unofficial slogan, I should say, of the army, which is you want to get somewhere and then you just sit around. And I feel like that's what life in New York is like.
That is it.
Because you're either like a half hour early or so incredibly late.
Yeah.
And I look at the train system as being Murphy's Law, 100%.
Yeah.
If something can go wrong, it will go wrong.
Yeah. I had such a good train. Like I couldn't believe they were both like on time. I was early. I was so early I got a coffee nearby because I was like, ooh. Didn't want to be too early, like a creep.
Yeah, you know.
Just staring in the window like I'm here, Bobby.
And I just got here a few minutes before you because I get here super early, and you found Connor and I under a tree.
That's right. Shade. Yeah. Where there is shade, you'll find the Irish just lurking.
And that's how we met each other. We did a show that was called Irish Comics Only.
That's right.
And it was you, it was me, it was a couple. You, if I remember correctly, were the only person actually from Ireland.
I believe I was. Well, wasn't Aiden on it?
Oh yeah, and he's from the Republic of Ireland.
Yeah.
We won't get into
Cork.
it now, but you're from Northern Ireland.
I'm from Northern Ireland, yes, or the north of Ireland, depending on your persuasion.
Helen, so I went to Edinburgh. You were in Edinburgh too, right?
I have never been, no.
Oh, you've never been?
Yeah, but I feel like everyone I know was there the last couple of years. Yeah, I'm trying to go next year.
You should definitely go because it's if you ever have the chance, either as a performer or an audience member, to go to the Edinburgh Comedy Festival in Scotland every August, you should do it because it's so much fun. But my first show there, I was doing like a little bit of crowd work. I was like, clap if you're from the UK, clap if you're from here, clap if you're from there. And
classic crowd work, by the way.
Classic, dude. I actually invented that. No one steal that.
That's Bobby's trademark.
That is my thing.
His
that
lawyers
and are
will
you
come
two
at you.
fucking? Those are my. But there was two different groups of Irish people, like they didn't know each other. And I said what I believe to be an innocuous statement, which is that JFK was our first Catholic president. And the one group cheered and the other group booed.
Ooh, yeah.
And I had accidentally inserted myself into a conflict I do not understand.
And that's Ireland for you. Yeah. In a nutshell, that's it. One group boos and the other cheers.
But I think they were all young enough that I think they were just doing a bit.
They were being silly.
Yeah.
My dad's Catholic and my mother's Protestant. And
interracial relationship.
They got married in 1976, heat of the Troubles in Belfast. Shout out to these sweeties, a real Romeo and Juliet situation. They had 4 children. I'm the youngest. And then eventually moved us to America. And then what was supposed to be a couple year experiment just to go and live somewhere else for a while. And then my eldest brother was 15 when we came here. And so a couple years later, it was like, am I going to college in America or are we going back? And now it's been 30 years. Shout out USA. And now we're the most American people you'll ever meet.
Hell yeah. I love that you said shout out USA and then did the Nixon thing.
That's right. Hey, my politics are coming out now.
Yeah. I have never met anybody that loves Richard Nixon.
Yeah, me neither.
Although he did his election next to Reagan's was the most people voted for him.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he was super popular. Because he was like, we're going to end Vietnam. And then he got elected and he was like, we are going to bomb Cambodia though.
Oh, you got to read the fine print.
Yeah.
You got to read the fine print, people.
So
elections.
I'm sorry, remind me, your mom is
Protestant
and your dad is Catholic.
Yeah.
And they got together at a time where Protestants and Catholics in Northern
Don't
Ireland
do
were
scissoring
not.
when you're talking
They were
about
scissoring.
my parents. Bobby, come on.
Straight
then
people
they
don't
got
scissor.
together.
Well, I
Wait.
guess they can. I guess, well, hey,
Yeah, I
straight
don't know.
people, what's stopping you from scissoring?
Yeah.
I don't know if it's scissoring either. This is too early in the podcast.
Sorry. But yeah, so they got together.
Uh-huh. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. And in spite of everything, yeah. And it was a real contentious time at the beginning. Both families were like, what? And now everybody's obviously super cool.
Was it really a Romeo and Juliet
It
situation?
was, yeah.
Okay.
It's really sweet. And then I remember when my Catholic grandmother died in 2015, we were all over for the funeral, and like my Protestant side came over to West Belfast, which is like a very Catholic part, for the funeral, which was so sweet. And they were like, never would I ever be in West Belfast, Helen. Can you like, it was so cute. And I was like, yeah, no, it's fine. All good.
Yeah.
You know, we snuck out for a pint. They were like, can they tell we're Protestant? I was like, no. I was like, you just look like, I'm like, do you guys all look and sound the same? Do you realize no one's like, Protestants?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's interesting to me. I know nothing about the conflict at all.
Good.
And I was born in America. That's
sure,
mostly
that'll
why
do
I
it.
don't know. Yeah.
That'll do it.
And but also I was born in 1990, so I was like towards the end of it anyway.
Okay, cool.
So I didn't
Yeah.
see.
That's sweet.
I
What
have
part of
no-
America were you born in?
North Jersey or the north of Jersey.
Yeah, depending on your
depending
persuasion.
on how you want to say it.
Boo. That's exciting.
And
Jersey.
I'm a typical Irish American because I don't know anything about Ireland, and I
Nice.
was born in New Jersey.
That's sweet.
Yeah.
That's good.
We were saying off mic that you lost your accent.
Yeah.
And I'm so interested in people that move here when they're young and whether or not they still have their accent. So
Yeah.
walk me through, how old were you when you came to the States?
I was 6.5 years old.
Mhm.
My brothers were older, 8, 12, and 15.
Mhm.
And I remember we had a little, like we were staying at a hotel waiting for our house to be ready. And there was a McDonald's outside the hotel because it was very high class. And we were listening to the drive-through, and we were just like, that is crazy that's what they talk like. 'Cause this woman was like, you want a hamburger, a cheeseburger, and what else? And we would say that all the time, and it was so funny to us. And then we went to school, and we were like, oh no, we sound crazy to everybody, And so then we put together a wee sentence that had like the most different vowel sounds, and we would practice it. And it was, should I bring my towel to your house, or do you have one I could borrow? Because we'd be like, should I bring my towel to your house, or do you have one I can borrow? And then we'd be like, house. Like instead of house, it'd be like house, And so we really practiced it. And then we'd go into school like, hey, y'all, howdy,
Howdy.
trying to blend in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, shout out. And then, and then we would go home and speak sort of regularly to each other. And like we still will. It comes out when we talk to our parents or whatever.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they've still got their cute wee accents.
Oh, okay, yeah. So your older siblings, they have an American accent too?
Yep.
Yeah.
Most of the time. Most of the time.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
But when you talk to your parents, because your parents are, obviously they still have the Irish accent. So
Yep.
you have an Irish accent when you talk to your parents.
Yeah. A lot of the time, yeah.
Mhm.
And then when I go back to Ireland, my cousins, like it just comes out, but my cousins, like I'm the only American cousin, the four of us. So they're like, want us to sound American. So then it comes out like this crazy blend.
Oh, okay.
People are like, where are you from? And it's like, doesn't matter.
Yeah. I always wonder that because I live in Bushwick, and it's a mostly Puerto Rican neighborhood, and I'll regularly hear two people talk to each other in Spanglish.
Oh, cool.
And that's very interesting to me.
That is interesting.
I'm wondering how that works. Because I'm like, why don't you both speak the language that the one is more comfortable with?
Yeah.
But,
That's interesting.
yeah. But I always wonder if maybe if it's because like they start the sentence and then they see me and then they're like, I
This
want to
guy.
keep the rest of the sentence a secret.
Yeah.
That's
the conspiracy theory.
all of those like Karen videos where like a lady is like, speak English. Obviously, like she's being racist, but also I wonder if like there's a paranoia of being like, are people talking about me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I don't really care if people talk about me. Actually, I prefer it. Negative, positive, because it's all good for the algorithm, right?
Yeah.
Whether it's on the internet or in real life.
That's right.
Yeah. So, because I've talked to Igor Martinez, and he's from Venezuela.
Oh, cool.
And he moved when he was the same age as you, roughly.
Cute.
Yeah. So I'm wondering, I'll ask you the same question I asked him. Did you have any culture shock when you came to America besides the fact that we say our vowels weird?
Yeah, a lot of, just like, I have a bit about how I thought I was bilingual for like when I first got here, even though there's like 3 words that are different, but we were like really getting that going on. It was a weird time. It was 1992. You were fresh. You were a fresh man of 2 years old.
I was a fresh man of 2 years
A
old.
wee toddler. And so it was like just a crazy, it was pre-internet. It was like the most culture shock was like, yeah, like going to school and everyone being like, why do you talk like that?
Mm-hmm.
And I'd be like, oh, I'm Irish. And they'd be like, I'm Irish.
Oh, right.
And it was like, oh, I don't know what to tell you, you know? And then it's like, you know, why do you sound like that? I'm Irish too. And I was like, oh, I just came here from Ireland. I don't know.
That is wild. Even little
that.
children don't know that it's like, it's a place.
Yeah, it was a weird situation. And they identified so hard as being Irish that then when like someone Irish showed up, they were like, what is going on? And I was like, I don't know. I'll just talk like you if that'll make everybody more comfortable.
See, I do this thing when everyone's like, you're Irish. And I very quickly add my ancestors are from Ireland.
Yeah.
I've never been there.
Yeah.
And if I went there, there would be a bunch of things happening that I didn't understand.
Yeah.
So it seems weird. It's this weird thing that, because we're American, that to me is a nice identity.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's wonderful. I'm proudly American now.
Yeah. You passed your citizen.
Passed my test. Very exciting. Studied, passed it. Yeah.
What is the test like?
It's pretty simple. They send you the answers ahead of time. There are 100 questions that they can ask you that you study them. And then there's 10 that they will ask you. And you don't know which 10 they're going to ask. So then you go into an interview and I think you only need to get 6 of the 10 correct. So I think by the time I got to my 6th question, he was like, okay, that's enough. And I was like, hey.
Do you remember any of the questions?
Yeah, it was, what did Susan B. Anthony do? Pop quiz.
Okay.
I was like, for fun?
She did women's stuff.
She did women's stuff.
That would have been my answer.
That's right. Lucky to be born here because that's 0 for 1.
Wait, what is she? I know she's a woman suffragist.
Yeah, she fought for women's rights. It's like because they want you to have the exact verbiage of that. So that's like the only tricky part.
Oh, okay.
They asked who, I was living in Seattle at the time. So they asked who the governor was.
Oh, the current governor of the state you were living in.
Yeah.
Okay.
They asked me who the vice president was.
Okay.
It was Joe Biden at the time. Exciting.
Nice.
That felt like a softball. Yeah, just sort of random questions. That's good. Oh, you had to answer. You did name a U.S. territory.
Ooh, which one did you go with?
Southwest. Just kidding. What if I thought? What if I thought? No. I think I went with. Guam.
Guam is a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got to go Guam.
They're the first people that die if North Korea loses its temper.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Scary.
Yeah.
Scary time to be Guam.
And the U.S. Virgin Islands is the only U.S. territory where they drive on the left.
Oh, that's a fun fact. Have you ever driven on the left?
No, I can't. I would kill somebody.
Oh, okay.
I would be the wife of the American diplomat that lived in England that she got confused and she drove on the wrong side of the highway and killed someone. Yeah, that'd be me 100%. Because I'm a little bit. Can you use the word ditzy for a man?
I think so.
Okay, I'm a little bit ditzy, and I'm always thinking about like bits and like a
little bit bitsy.
What?
Bitsy.
I'm ditzy and bitsy
because you're thinking about bits.
I'm thinking about what should I have for dinner? What would I say to Eminem if I met him? Like really important stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
What would you say?
Oh,
to Marshall.
I would. Okay, so thank you so much for asking.
Yeah.
So there's a line in one of his early songs where he says, "Filling your dead body dumping your dead body inside of a trash can with more holes than an Afghan."
Okay.
And I heard that song when I was too young to be listening to it.
Sure.
And I didn't know that a rug is called an Afghan. Like you could have an Afghan rug, but I knew that Afghanistan was a war-torn country. Yeah. So I thought the line about more holes than an Afghan was about like an Afghani person riddled with bullets. So I would tell him that because I think he would think it was funny.
Okay. Good one.
Yeah.
That's
also,
nice.
I tried to kiss him. Well, we'll see what happens. Yeah.
I can't imagine trying to kiss Eminem, how that would go. I feel like
he would probably hit me in the head with an awful hot coffee pot.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Classic move.
Do you stan anyone in particular?
Taylor Swift.
Ooh, that's time. Eminem for girls.
That's Eminem for girls. Yes, she is our Marshall Mathers. I've been a big Hanson fan since 1997.
So my conception of Hanson is that they're a one-hit wonder. Is that true?
For most people, yeah. For me, no. Many hits for me. I mean, they had a couple from that first album. Bop, Where's the Love? I Will Come to You. Those were all bops.
Where's the Love is that the song?
That's
Black Eyed Peas, isn't it?
Round and round.
Oh, no, it's a different song.
It's different. You were too young.
Okay.
You're only a young man of 7 at this point. Yeah, it was I love them. They're coming to New York City and I'm going to be away on tour and I am devastated, but I'm making my girlfriend go. I bought her a ticket.
Nice.
I was like, you're going to see Hanson. And she was like, why?
Wait, she doesn't want to go.
She doesn't want to go, but she's going on my behalf. She and some of my friends. I have some friends who like Hanson,
Okay.
which I just found out. My friend Dan loves Hanson. And I was like, oh my gosh. And I was like, when they come to New York, we must go. And then I found out I was going to be away. And so he was like, oh, and I was like, you know, who would go with you? Jamie volunteered her. So shout out to my girlfriend for putting in the time.
Shout out, Jamie. Thank you so much for being such a supportive girlfriend.
Yeah, she's good.
That's
She's the best.
Is she Irish?
She is not. She is of Italian and Puerto Rican descent, and she is also from New Jersey. Hey,
Hell yeah.
Yeah,
Nice.
she's great.
I almost said something very dumb, which is like if you're super pale like you or I, you got to find someone that's not as pale. That's not actually
That's
how
not true.
women,
But she's
women
actually on
behave.
the paler side.
Ooh, really?
Yeah. We went to Rockaway Beach for the first time. So exciting. We were under this umbrella and these like Italian American guys were like, you guys Italian? Like as a joke. And she was like, actually I am. So we were like putting on sunblock under an umbrella and they were laughing so hard. We were like, just trying to stay alive.
I'm always putting on sunscreen.
Yeah.
Like every 2 hours.
Me too.
Whenever someone's like, it's cloudy outside, I'm like, I've been burned too many times. No pun intended.
I just put on, we went to see Marshmello the other day.
What's that?
The DJ.
Oh.
Yeah. And we went to that and it was really fun, but it was at the Brooklyn Mirage. Have you ever been there? So it's like mostly outdoors and it was so cloudy and I was like spraying sunblock and my friends were all like, are you? I was like, does anyone want some? They were like, no, I think it's safe. It's also like the sun setting. It's like, that's when you think you're safe. But that's when it gets you.
Yeah, it's here's how I feel. So you don't lose anything from putting on sunscreen other than, I don't know, 3 cents, 2 or 3 cents, you know.
Then you smell kind of like sunscreen, and then that can be hard for your friends.
I've been using Neutrogena.
Oh,
So it's like $15 a bottle.
Nice.
I cannot afford it.
Yeah,
but I it's part of my self-care, and then I don't smell like sunscreen, and I don't have dirty fingernails because if I wear the cheap sunscreen and then I scratch my arm, I get dirty fingernails.
Are you doing like the cream or are you doing the spray?
No, I do the cream because the spray I feel like I'm like, did it really get everywhere? With the cream, you can see it.
Yeah. I'm like, I spray it real close and then I rub it in.
Oh.
Safety first.
Oh, yeah.
And second. And third.
Folks, follow us for more skincare tips.
Skincare, yes.
My audience, that's 90% male.
Oh, good. Good.
But boys, your skin gets leathery too if you don't take care of it.
That's right. I bet there's a surprising number of Hansons in your crowd. That's what you're going to find out after this.
Ooh.
All those emails are going to be like, love Hanson. Check them out.
So I know Mbop.
Yeah.
And they were like little boys and they had long blonde hair.
Yeah, cute.
But now they're like,
now they're
like 40.
Yeah. The youngest is about to be 39.
And I have in my head that the drummer is a Trump supporter. Did I make that up?
I'm sure they all are. They are from Oklahoma. I might be their only gay fan. I'm not sure.
Ooh.
But
nice.
You know, old habits die hard.
I love that your girlfriend is going in to
yeah.
Yeah.
That's cute.
Okay, cool. So you're in Ireland and then you're 6 or 7.
Yep.
And you move to America.
Yep.
And
Pittsburgh.
you lose your accent.
Yep.
And after you acclimated, what do you like in middle school?
What am I like in middle school?
Yeah, what's your thing?
This is like big into Hanson, loving the boy bands.
Okay.
You know, this is like 97.
Mm-hmm.
It's like 98, I think, probably to 2000. So it's like, I'm just loving the music, taking it in.
Mm-hmm.
Started playing drums.
Oh, you play drums.
That was fun. I was begging for drums from like the time I was a child because I was loving Ringo. Drummers who sing, I really love.
Phil Collins?
Phil Collins, sure. Karen Carpenter of the Carpenters. She's always playing the drums on those. Isn't that crazy? So cool. Zach Hanson, of course. You know, your Ringos. And so I was like, I want to be a drummer who sings.
Okay.
And so I was like, please, can I have drum set? My parents were like, no, for a long time. And then eventually they caved. Ooh, ooh. And that was amazing. So I was just always just trying to start a band. I was always trying to start a family band with my brothers. A la Hanson, they were like, you are an 11-year-old girl. We do not want to be in a band with you. Because they were, one's 9 years older than me. So he's in college. And he's like, am I coming home for family band practice? No. I was like, that's fair. That's fair. He's 20, but really now I'm like a comedian because I couldn't get the band together. It's a classic, I think, road to comedy.
Yeah. I was a musician too.
Yeah? What do you play?
I played guitar and I was in a punk band in high school.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah.
What were you like in middle school?
Oh, middle school. Let's see. I was short and fat and I had red hair. It's like the same now, except I'm not fat anymore. And I was unathletic.
Okay.
My parents put me into every sport imaginable, and I was not good at any of them.
Wow.
Yeah.
Were they athletes, or they just wanted you to
No,
be?
they're like, he has to be good at something.
Oh, we got to find it.
And they wanted me to do they're like, well, you're creative, because I memorize like songs really easily, and I would like sing all the time. They were like, you should do something creative. But I thought the theater,
like soccer.
I like something creative like soccer. Well, once they were like, hey, you're bad at sports, maybe you do something creative. But I looked at all the kids in the plays and stuff, and I was like, they're annoying improv kids. I didn't have that language at the time, but that is how I felt even as a little boy.
Yeah, that's how me.
So then I got a little bit older, and then me and my friends played in a punk band, and then I smoked a lot of weed.
Oh, wow.
I smoked weed constantly.
Wow. Yeah. How old were you when you started?
I was 14. Yeah. And I heard the album Dookie by Green Day, and they have that song Longview about smoking weed and masturbating. And I was like, I already do the latter. Might as well start the former.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And I was like, I'm going to be like a cool drug guy.
Yeah.
And I was for a little while.
Nice.
Yeah.
Isn't it so funny, the identities you go through like on the journey?
It's really strange.
So embarrassed. I'm so glad that social media wasn't around when we were kids because that would be humiliating.
100%. I mean, like I had like MySpace when I was little, but that's like gone. I looked for my MySpace. It's gone.
Yeah.
And thank you, Jesus, Mary, and Joseph, because I was at my most cringe then.
Yeah. Scrub that. You didn't even have to. The internet was like, this shouldn't exist anymore.
You know how I got past the top 8 drama though?
How?
With MySpace. So for those that are too young to remember MySpace, Tom was a little bit strange because he never collected our data, thank goodness, but he did make us rank our friends from 1 to 8. And if you go on someone's MySpace profile, you could see who their best friends were.
Yeah.
And that's like, I'm sure that for girls created a lot of mean girls situations.
I'm sure that was very dramatic. I remember I always know my like top 10 of everything. Like I'm very I really rank my favorites hard. So for me, I was like, this is easy. And I feel like people in my life know too, like in a loving way. But like, yeah, I'm like,
you meet them for brunch. You're like, hey, number 7.
Hey, 7, what's
How's
up?
it going?
You're lucky it was top 8.
Well, I got around the drama by making the top 8 like my bands.
Oh, smart.
Yeah, I was like, well, I like at the time it was like Green Day and Blink-182 and like Sum 41 towards the bottom.
Nice.
Sum 41 is basically like Blink-182 light.
Wow. So. Are you still fans of these people?
Yeah, I mean Eminem is my favorite one, and
rank them top 7.
Eminem, Biggie Smalls, Big L underrated, the Beastie Boys, of course. And then probably squeaking in at number 5, and my favorite non-rap entity is Green Day.
Nice. Yeah. They were just here.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
But I feel like they've written so much new music, like post-eyeliner, that I just don't understand.
Yeah.
You know, when a band keeps writing music and you're like, I like their old stuff, and I don't want to be the guy that's like, oh, I hope they play their old stuff. But then you go to a concert, and half of it is like stuff you don't understand.
Yeah. That's tough.
No.
That is tough.
So if let's say Hanson is gone.
Okay.
Don't worry. We're not manifesting.
RP.
It's going to be fine. But who's your number 2?
Well, Taylor Swift is probably my number 1 because I think that Taylor Swift her best stuff is still ahead of her. You know, I feel like she's very prolific, and I feel like Hanson. My favorite Hanson album is from like 2010. No offense, Hanson, but
they peaked.
Yeah, I mean they're still working away, and I respect a sibling harmony. Love it, but yeah, Taylor's probably my number 1. I really love Brandi Carlile. Do you know her?
No,
she's a singer. What's up? I really love like Motown. I listen to a lot of like soul music, Motown.
Hell yeah.
That's what's blowing up on my Spotify. It's always like Taylor Swift, Brandi Carlile, some kind of comedian, often like a Bo Burnham, and then it's like, then it's usually like Temptations.
Temptations is good. I get
Stevie
into a
Wonder.
certain mood. Otis Redding.
It's a nice time.
He's sitting on the dock of the bay.
Yeah.
Parentheses, wasting time.
Yep. I love a song with a parentheses in the title.
Yeah.
Because they're like, what do we call it? Are people going to know we're doing on the dock of the bay if we don't put wasting time in parentheses?
I think I might have fucked it up. I think it's sitting on the dock. I don't think wasting time is. Yeah. Connor, can we look that up? How does it work? Sitting on the dock of the bay.
Yeah, I'll look it up.
Thank you.
Thank you.
What do you, Connor's like a audio visual expert, and then I make him look up the dumbest shit.
Yeah.
The other day,
Treat him like Alexa right now. Hey, Connor.
The other day, I asked him to Google comedians that died at 33 because I had this idea that 33 is the 27 club for comedians.
Oh, interesting.
But it turned out not to be true because it was like John Belushi and Chris Farley, and that was kind of it.
Okay.
And I was like,
small group.
Yeah.
I don't know if 2 is enough for a group.
I just turned 34.
You
I
did?
outlived Jesus.
Happy belated.
Yeah.
Yeah. When's your birthday?
August 30th.
Okay. Wow.
I'm a classic Virgo.
That's great.
I actually know nothing.
I don't
about
really
the
know what
star
that
signs.
means either, but
No.
I was like, oh.
You're a woman that doesn't know about star signs.
Yeah.
Thank goodness you exist.
Yeah, I know mine because people have been like, "Oh, you're a Taurus," and I'm like, "Oh, that's great."
Yeah. What's the stereotype about Taurus? You know?
We're stubborn and loyal,
Oh,
which feels true.
you're
So,
stubborn, loyal.
Certainly loyal, and I guess I'm stubborn. If I refuse to admit it, that feels stubborn. Yeah, I'm stubborn,
Okay.
but
I have the lyrics here.
Okay. The title of the song. What part is in parentheses?
Sitting on. In parentheses, SITTIN apostrophe.
So the song
ON.
is the dock of the bay, and then at the front it's like, by the way, sitting on.
Yeah. You're not getting on a boat if that's what you think is happening on this dock. Nope, we're just sitting. We're watching the tide roll away.
Did you go to college?
I did. I went to IUP, which is Indiana University of Pennsylvania. No relation to Indiana University, just a town in Pennsylvania called Indiana.
That's so confusing.
Yeah.
Dude.
So I went there, loved it. Took my time, 5 years. I started in elementary education, and then I switched to just like generally business. And then it was like business, marketing, and Spanish was, I think, where I landed. And then I studied abroad in Spain. It was fun.
Hablas español?
Un poquito. It's been a while. But I used to like translate. I was really fluent. And then now I just don't really have anyone to speak to.
In Spanish.
Yeah. Oh, Ryan. I should speak to Ryan Irwin.
Oh, yeah. He speaks Spanish.
Hablas conmigo, Ryan. Yeah. But so did that. It was really funny because they were like, hey, like you have to do a study abroad is like required for your program. But because you're from Ireland, technically you don't have to. And I was like, let's leave that part out when we tell this story to my parents. So then I was like, I have to study abroad.
Yeah.
And so then I went to Sevilla in Spain and loved it. Yeah.
Sevilla. Do some people pronounce it as Seville?
They do. Yeah.
Okay. Because
It's English.
Spain was the first country I went to. I was a little boy. Because, okay, my aunt is from Spain because she married my uncle.
Okay.
And then they had a baby.
Cute.
And then the baby was going to be christened in Spain.
Okay.
And so my family is very Catholic. And they're like, well, we have to see the baby's christening.
Oh, that's
so
sweet.
we took this as an opportunity for us to all go to Spain. So I went to Spain. It's the only plane ride I had before 9/11. Because this is in 2000. And I was 10.
Wow.
Yeah.
And where in Spain did you go?
We went to Madrid.
Nice.
And then we did like some day trips in other places. But the only other place I could remember is Seville. And I have a shirt. I think I have it somewhere. There's a Irish bar called Sheehan's in Seville.
Nice.
So I had a shirt that says Seville Sheehan's on.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
And then my dad, so we haven't done like a whole bunch of traveling outside of America up until this point. So my dad, we go to this Irish bar in Spain.
Nice.
And we had already gone to like a bunch of different places in Madrid to eat, and we had no luck with people like speaking English, which it is what it is. It's but I think my conception sometimes when I visit other places is like, oh, I'll be fine. Everybody speaks English in the service industry in a major city in Western Europe. But Madrid, for whatever reason, seemed to not be the case. So my poor dad goes to this Irish bar in Seville, and the waitress comes over and he wants to order a hot dog, but there's like two different types.
That's cute.
Yeah. I
didn't know they had hot dogs in Spain.
They had hot dogs. If you go to Sheehan's in Seville, if it still exists, I haven't been there in 24 years. But so my dad goes to this waitress. I want a long hot dog on a long roll. And then the waitress in an Irish accent goes, okay, and what can I get for you, ma'am? And he's like, oh yeah, everybody that works at the Irish bars is from Ireland and therefore speaks English.
That is so fun. It is incredible. Like there are Irish bars everywhere you go. I went to Antarctica in December for vacation. And so to get there, you have to go to the tip of Argentina, like the very, very bottom. And at the very bottom, the town called Ushuaia, there was like an Irish bar. And I was like, it's amazing. Anywhere you go. And it was so fun. They were not from Ireland in there. They were from Argentina, which was really cool. But yeah, I just was like, wow, we're like at the bottom of the world. And here there's just an Irish pub. So cute.
This is how dumb I am. I'm like, are you about to tell me that there's an Irish bar in Antarctica?
No, there's nothing in Antarctica. There's no settlements. There's like research stations essentially. But no, there's no currency, there's no money, there's no people. It's just ice. Ice and animals.
You made the trip to go to Antarctica and you got to go to this little town on the tip of Argentina.
Yeah.
And then what do you take a boat?
You take a boat.
Okay.
It's like we did like a 10-day cruise essentially, where you go down, you go through Drake's Passage, which is the rockiest waters on Earth. And then once you get through that, you're in Antarctica, which is just the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. It's like whales everywhere, penguins. You just like go by an iceberg. There's just like a colony of penguins on top. Like, sup? It's crazy. Lots of like albatross, beautiful birds, and then just like these icebergs that are essentially just like pieces of art. It's beautiful. And then you're just on a boat. And then we would take little like Zodiac tours around, and we went and did like some continental landings where you like walk around and there's just like a seal colony or there's like a penguin colony, and you're just like, what's up? And they're like, hey.
It's like a big zoo trip.
Yeah.
Basically.
But the animals are free.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy to me. That's and you were in Antarctica for 10 days?
Yeah. It's like a 10-day situation. Well, like getting there. It's like 2 days to get there and 2 days to get back. So.
2 days on a boat in the rockiest waters you've ever been in? Oh my God. I get seasick. I would throw up the whole time.
Yeah. If you have enough money, you can, I guess, fly over that part. But you have to be like really flexible with your dates because they just have to wait for the weather to be safe to fly. And then you can like fly past the Drake Passage, land on like a little island and get a boat there. But that was not in my budget.
On your way to saying you've been to all 7 continents. Because
I've been to 5.
Ooh.
Yeah. I'm still missing Africa, which my biggest regret is not going. I really wanted to go to Morocco when I was in Spain because it's like so close, but I didn't have the budget at the time. And I haven't been to Australia.
Oh, I've been to Australia,
Ooh.
But I'm like kind of too young to remember it. I went on a school trip when I was, 11 or 12.
That's quite a school trip.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was, I think because it was a school trip to like save money. It's the only trip where I had to do 2 layovers. So I went from New York to LA and then LA to New Zealand. And then from New Zealand to Australia on one of those tiny, terrifying planes.
Yeah.
Where they literally told us, you put your luggage here, you put your luggage there, and we realized that they were trying to balance the plane.
So scary.
Dude, no, I almost said I want a Boeing, but that they're not known for.
That was before. Before.
The bigger the aircraft, the more. I always sit next to somebody that doesn't know how to behave, though.
Oh, really?
Literally everybody I sit with, either they man spread or women spread, or
non-binary spread.
Or non-binary spread. I'm like, excuse me, what are your pronouns? Okay. Well, I just want you to know they, them are an asshole. Yeah. I don't know what it is. I know because I like to spread out too. But if I'm like when I came back from Europe, most recently, there was a guy sitting next to me and we're like the same size. So I'm like, dude, we got the same like wingspan.
Yeah.
You don't have to do this.
And we got room. Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
And he's making me do. Now I have my knees together.
Oh.
Yeah.
I always have someone who's like wants to be on my armrest, like and over it.
Right.
And I'm always like trying to sort of like defend my territory.
Right.
But I'm like, because it's like if they can just be in their own space, then I'm like, okay. But like if they need it, I'm like, that's no problem. But like if I'm like, hey, listen, this is my territory. Like we all paid for a seat. Let's just be sweet. Let's just be kind to each other.
Be nice to each other, guys. If you're listening, please be nice to each other.
Be nice to each other.
I always think like my fantasy if I had a bunch of money, because I don't really have like exquisite tastes or like I don't need anything extravagant. I'd probably
that $15 Neutrogena sunblock.
Dude, I would have a tub of that in my apartment.
You win the lottery.
In my fantasy, I still live in an apartment.
The same life, but with a lot more sunblock.
Yeah, but I would 100%. Whenever I walk past first class,
yeah,
I'm like, ugh, I want that.
Yeah,
because they get their own seat.
I was flown to Europe first class for comedy.
For comedy?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Crazy.
It's taken off.
It was amazing. And I could not believe the life in first class. In fact, I was like the whole time I was like, oh my good. And the like business guy was like laughing so hard. And he was like, yeah, he's like, we all feel that way. We just don't act like it. And I was like, why not? I was like, this is incredible. They had like a little pod to like lay down in. It was great. They like brought you champagne. I was like, is this what it's like up here? Is this how people are living? It's crazy. I watched Magic Mike 3 because I was like, it was like too classy for me. I was like, I need to do something a little trashy while I'm here.
To even it out. Okay.
Yeah, and it was really fun.
Oh my God, I want to ride on first class so much.
It was crazy. Like really, I was like, this is a once in a lifetime experience. I feel like, because I just really soaked it up.
It is funny that they make first class sit first, so then they all have to look at the animals walk past them.
Yeah, and they're just like drinking. They're like bringing them like treats and stuff. I was like, they just kept coming by like, would you like some tea? And I was like, you guys are so nice to us up here. It's so unfair.
I would feel uncomfortable the whole time, to be honest.
Yeah.
Well, like I would like that no one's sitting next to me and I have lots of room.
Yeah.
But I have this thing, and if I'm in a customer service situation and someone calls me sir, I want to tell them that they don't have to do that.
Yeah.
I am so not a sir. I'm just some guy.
Yeah.
We're
all just some guy. I can't believe your school took you to Australia. We went on field trips to like Gettysburg.
I've never been to Gettysburg.
It's a lot closer than Australia.
I know.
To Pittsburgh. That's so funny. Wow.
I want to go to Gettysburg too, because as the listeners know, I'm a little bit autistic about the Civil War.
Are you?
Yeah, I know a lot about the Civil War. The first one, not the one that's happening.
Yeah. The one that's over. The one that's over. Wow. Why the Civil War? What is it about it that
I think it's interesting because I think a lot of Americans like the American Revolution, and that is good and it is unique. But at the end of the day, a lot of countries are free from the British Empire, right?
Sure.
I think that's like a joke I saw, that like that's the most celebrating thing in the world is like divorcing yourself from Great Britain. Yeah. Right.
Ireland's still working on it.
I know.
They've still got part of it.
Okay, is that gonna? Our friend Aiden. Yeah. He told me, this is his opinion, that it's going to happen soon. Do you think that's going to happen?
I think it could. Yeah.
Okay, so we should maybe for people that are unacquainted, can you? All right, 3 minutes. Tell us about the Troubles.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Back in, I think it was 1921, the Republic of Ireland split from the United Kingdom, right? So it used to be Ireland, England, Scotland, and Wales. And then Ireland fought for independence. There are 32 counties of Ireland. And again, it depends on the way the Catholics tell it is that they all wanted to be free. Everyone wanted to leave. And the way the Protestants tell it is that they were afraid that being home ruled would force them to be Rome ruled, aka they'd be forced to be Catholic. But what they tell you on like the tours in Belfast and stuff is that Belfast was such a lucrative part of the country because it was like where all the ships were made. They made the Titanic, a bunch of other ships were made there. It was like a huge titan of industry. And so it was making a lot of money. So that's potentially why the United Kingdom wanted to keep it, because it had a lot of cash flow. So however it happened, the northern 6 counties got kept and are still part of the United Kingdom legally, technically. And the South and Donegal, I guess, is not technically South, but it is in the Republic. Those are all independent now. And so the troubles happened because there are people in Northern Ireland who want to be free from the United Kingdom. And then there are some people who, most of the Protestants, want to stay part of the United Kingdom. So that has created a civil war of sorts back in the day. So there was a lot of violence, the IRA, for example. And then there was a northern version called the Ulster Volunteer Force, and they would blow things up and try to, fight. Did you see Kneecap?
No, Kneecap.
Kneecap. It's a movie that's out right now. It's about this Irish hip hop trio. They're a real hip hop trio, and they rap in Irish, Gaelic. And so as like a revolution to like reclaim the Irish language, because one thing that colonizers do is try to get rid of the language pretty quickly. So anyway, you're Catholics, you have your Protestants fighting, but now it's tough because some people, want a united Ireland and some people want to remain. Brexit like really stirred up a lot of this stuff again because now the
Republic of Ireland is still part of the EU, but Northern Ireland, because it's part of the UK, is not part of the EU. Oh, this is also complicated.
Yeah, it's also complicated. Yeah.
I gave you an impossible task and you nailed it.
Thank you. That is the summary.
Yeah. So
facts only.
Yeah, that was great. So yeah, my friend's opinion is that because my understanding, with the what is it, the Good Friday Agreement, that they're like, if the people of Northern Ireland decide they want to leave the UK and be part of the Irish Republic, they could do that by a vote, by a referendum. And so my understanding is that some people think that could happen soon.
That could happen. The Good Friday Agreement was to like sort of end the violence. It was 1998. Highly recommend watching Derry Girls if you haven't seen it.
It's about a farm.
It's about the county of Derry / Londonderry in Northern Ireland, and like during the Troubles in the 90s, and like these teenage kids and their lives there during it. And it's very, very funny and also very like heartfelt and poignant.
Okay.
But
Derry Girls, I'm gonna watch that. I've watched Belfast, the movie.
Oh, cool! Yeah,
that's pretty good.
That was a good one. Yeah.
So you gave us like a kind of a context of when your parents met. I'm not gonna scissor her again.
Thank you.
Thank you. So yeah, that was kind
that's
of like
appropriation from my culture. The lesbians.
I don't know if lesbian scissors. That's just a thing that South Park made up.
We'll neither confirm nor deny.
You're pleading the fifth on this one. So your parents met and love conquered all.
Love conquered all. And boy, did I bring that up when I came out. You know what I mean? I was like, love is love. Am I right, guys?
They're like, you two would be the most open-minded, I assume.
Yeah. I was like, right?
They were cool?
They were cool, yeah.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
Nice. And so how did you get into comedy? I'm wondering.
I had always loved comedy growing up. I do feel like everyone in Ireland is pretty funny, just naturally. And I had always been like writing jokes and interested in it. My one brother is he was like a theater major. He was like a real performer, star of all the musicals and stuff. And we were just a grade apart. So like we were in high school together, and I always thought that like I would write and he would perform, because I had like terrible stage fright. And then one day, he kind of like dared me to do it, which is legally binding when your older sibling dares you. Double dog, I believe.
He didn't triple dog, did he?
No, he didn't triple down, but he did double dog. And I was like, oh man, I have to. So he went with me to an open mic, and I did it, and I fell in love. And then I was still like so afraid. This was like 2012, I think. And I was so afraid. I would do it like because I had a really good first set, and I was like, I really wasn't expecting to bomb.
Right.
And then I was like afraid of the bomb, And so I was like, so I'd go like every like couple months, and I'd be like, and then it would go well, and I'd be like, And so I was so afraid of like just like properly doing it. And then eventually just like the fear of not doing it sort of outweighed the fear of doing it. And then I just started doing it like really in 2016 all the time.
Nice.
Yeah. And just love it so much.
Yeah. I started in 2016. So.
Oh, nice. Cool. What made you want to do it?
Oh, I don't know. I always loved stand-up, and people in my life said that I was funny, and I didn't make the connection until I was 25 years old.
Yeah. I started till I was like 29. And then I was like, oh, I should, because you know when you're like in your 20s and you think you're so old.
Yeah.
And so when I was like 27, I was like, oh, I should have started at 25. Now I'm 27, you know?
Right.
And then I was 29 and I was feeling like, oh, I should have started at 27. And I was like, oh, you're going to feel that way at 31. Or like, you know, you're just always going to feel like you should have started it. So just start it now.
It's like that proverb, the best time to plant a tree is 10 years ago. The second best time is now.
We were all thinking it.
Yeah. Who said that? Was that
Proverbs.
Confucius?
Proverbs
Connor, I'm not going to make you look it up.
Yeah,
Don't worry.
thank you, Connor.
Yeah, nice. Okay, cool. So, and you lived in Seattle.
Lived in Seattle. Yeah, I moved from Pittsburgh to Seattle. Was there for a couple years.
How does one go from Pittsburgh to Seattle?
I had always been interested in living in the Pacific Northwest. It just is so pretty and so interesting. And so I had like a remote job, and so I was like, oh, I'm just gonna go live in Seattle for a while, and ended up moving in August 2019. So it was like great time to triple your rent.
Yeah.
Moving to Seattle. And then the pandemic happened, not there long after, but it was really fun. Got to be in the scene there, really loved it. And then moved from there to Raleigh for my ex's job. So we moved to Raleigh, and then was in Raleigh for a couple years, and then moved here.
So which between Raleigh, Seattle, and New York, which is the best?
Oh, wow. Comedy scene?
Just in general.
Oh, general? Oh, wow. I mean, they're all so, like, the people in the South was so, well, I had like a lot of like preconceived notions about the South moving there. I was like a northerner, you know?
Right.
And
because you're from the north of the U.S.
I'm from the north of everywhere. That's, you know, so I was like, oh, the South. And then it was so lovely, and like people were so warm and friendly, and that scene was great. Seattle was just, I think, the most beautiful place I've ever been. Have you ever been out to Seattle? It's just like huge mountains, like ocean. It's like all right there. It's so beautiful, like forests. It's incredible. But New York, I don't know. I've just always loved New York. Something about New York. I wake up every day like, New York City. Like, I can't believe I'm here. So I guess New York is currently my favorite.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah.
I love New York. I wish everyone would be a little quieter though.
Yeah, it's too loud.
Okay, so I don't know if I'm like being a curmudgeon because I'm getting older or the situation is getting worse, but in the past 2 days I've been in public places, and literally there was no public place in which someone was not playing music or TikToks at full volume on their phone.
Yeah, that's tough.
I don't know if the situation's getting worse or I'm just in my old age getting cranky.
Yeah, I'm like, is every subway car loud, or do I just get on the loud one?
Yeah.
That's sort of my lately. I'm like, because there are people playing music last night when I got on the train, and I was like, okay, we're all vibing out to this now, you know? It's
never good music either.
Yeah, it never is.
Yeah.
It's like when you're at the beach and someone's like, I bet I could DJ better than the ocean sounds. And you're like, can you?
The beach is wild because it's like, dude, we are here to relax.
Yeah, we're here for some nature sounds.
Yeah.
And then there's just some crazy music next to you, and you're like, okay.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Yeah. My parents told me that they were at a beach, not a beach. They were at a pool, which is like they were an indoor pool, which I consider to be the beach.
Yeah.
Because there's no sand and there's no sun.
Yeah.
But apparently they were at an indoor hotel pool, and someone came with a boombox and was just like, we're partying now.
Some kind of time traveler from like
yeah, I know, right?
Like, where did you even get a boombox?
He was Radio Raheem. It was crazy. I don't understand. And I was like, hey man, do the right thing and turn that off.
Yeah.
You know?
Do the right thing. How long have you been in New York?
I started here, so I moved here in 2016.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And you started immediately when you got here. Is that why you
I'm
moved
from
here?
the suburbs. I'm from the Hudson Valley, Orange County, which is like 50 miles north of here. I'm from the north of New York. I'm just going to keep doing that joke. So I'm
going to fall for it every time.
So I figured I'd start in the city that I am closest to.
Yeah,
so
that makes sense.
Well, actually, I moved to North Jersey, and then I finally had enough money to move to Harlem, and then I moved to Bushwick.
Nice.
Yeah. And Bushwick is the best.
Is it?
I think, yeah. I mean, Manhattan is the best, but I'm assuming anybody that listens to my podcast doesn't have Manhattan money. So we'll see.
Manhattan money. I moved to New York with my best friend, and we chose where to live because of her job. So we were living in the Upper East Side, and then like 10 days into our lease, we found out she was 5 weeks pregnant. And then she moved back to Pittsburgh, and I was just like, okay, I guess I live in the Upper East Side now.
Did you like get a Craigslist roommate or something?
No, I had a friend eventually take over the lease, which was really helpful and nice, but a comedy friend. And then I was like, ooh, but there was a couple minutes there where I was like, what to do? We had just unpacked, gotten rid of all the boxes and stuff. And I was like, do we need those boxes back? Like that was a
I'm
crazy.
just laughing thinking about you being like, I don't think you're ready to be a mother.
No, she's ready, and she's the best mother. That baby is with us now.
Ooh.
With us on Earth. That's exciting.
Shout out, baby,
Out
if
of the
you're
womb.
listening.
Shout out, baby. Yeah, so cute. It was
Nice.
very funny. Yeah.
So, oh my God, Upper East Side.
Upper East Side. And so, and there I remain. But I just it's crazy when you move to New York, it's so big and overwhelming.
Mhm.
I'd only been to visit a couple times, but living here is obviously so much different than visiting it. So I was like, oh, I didn't really know where to go. And now I'm like, okay, now I'm still on the Upper East Side, but don't know how long that'll be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I keep getting priced out further and further into Brooklyn,
That's fair.
but I'm
But
an
Brooklyn's
artist.
getting expensive now, right?
I know. Yeah. Well, I lived where the train ride to Manhattan is 20 minutes.
Okay.
I was trying to simplify this.
Yeah.
But now now it's a 30-minute ride into Manhattan.
Okay.
Because I keep pursuing the arts,
We love the arts
Yeah.
around here.
I really do, dude. I love the arts so much that I have roommates in my 30s.
Yeah, makes
Yeah.
sense. That's fair.
Whenever anybody quits, it's sad, but I can't pretend like I don't get it.
Oh yeah,
You
totally.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're like, oh, now I have my own. I moved an hour out of New York and I have a house now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I had a friend just move back to Raleigh, and I was like, "You're gonna have so much space."
Yeah. The space is incredible.
Yeah.
And I always have this thing where I'm like, well, I'm a New Yorker and I'm used to it. And then if I go on vacation or either just outside of the city and I enjoy how much space and quiet I have, I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
No, I'm relaxing for the first time
Oh
in
yeah.
a long time.
Your heart rate's dropping.
My-
You're like,
you-
what is this feeling?
Yeah. I could walk outside without worrying about somebody being weird.
Yeah.
People are always being weird.
People are always being
Especially because and I know women always get more weird people talking to them than men. But I feel because I have bright orange hair, it's
Mhm.
I have babies are always
weird. Oh,
so they're not that the babies bother me, but
maybe they watch your podcast. You ever
They're
think
like,
about
"This is the
that?
guy."
Mom, that's it. That's Bobby.
So you're drinking coffee in the morning. It's the 4 Hours podcast.
Yeah.
So you know I'm gonna ask. Are
Yeah.
you a morning person or a night person?
I'm a night person.
Yeah.
I think most comedians are, right?
God bless you. I am a morning person.
You are?
It is an affliction.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's wow.
I'm naturally whenever I'm in a position where I can wake up early, it always feels so nice.
Yeah.
I love the morning.
I love the morning too. I have probably 6 days a year where I just wake up early and I'm like, oh, and I normally I'm a real go back to bed person.
Mhm.
But there are some days where I'm just oh, I'm up now, and I do love those mornings. Those 6 times a year
Mhm.
where I'm like, wow, this is what morning people do.
Mhm.
And then you feel you're so accomplished by noon. You're I've done so much today. I've been up for so long. You're ready to eat. You're ready to you're ready for bed. It's crazy. But I do think that's probably the nicer life if you can do it. And I feel everything's so set up for morning people. Jobs are set up for morning people. School's set up for morning people.
Mhm.
But comedy though,
Yeah.
set up for night people.
Yeah, I have this whenever I'm in between spots. For those just listening, Helen was doing some sort of shimmying thing. I think she was dancing.
I
I'm
was
not sure.
hoping we'd move past it. Avert your eyes.
I'm not a great dancer. My dancing is based mostly on vibes.
Yeah.
I just try to vibe it out.
I'm such a bad dancer that you weren't sure that that's what I was doing. The only witness to it was I'm not sure what her body is moving in a weird way.
Yeah. The worst though is there's a video you could find on the internet of a young Hillary Clinton at the 1996 Democratic National Convention
Ooh.
doing her best interpretation of what us humans call dancing.
No way.
Because everyone
I gotta
behind
find
her
it.
is doing the Macarena because I guess the Macarena was happening
yeah,
and she's
huge.
just she's just clapping her hands.
Oh, Hill.
She doesn't, she's really smart. She knows a lot about probably Libya and stuff, but
Yeah.
she's not, she's not vibing well.
Right. Do
Yeah.
you remember in 2016 when Hillary Clinton said the best quote of all time, which was, I don't know who invented Pokemon Go, but maybe we could get them to invent Pokemon Go to the polls. That is my favorite quote, I think, of all time. I think about it a couple times a week. Pokemon Go to the polls. Classic. Hillary.
It's so funny too, like the way, because I know other countries have different systems, but the presidential election really is a like a popularity contest.
Yeah.
It literally is like, okay, you're gonna run the free world. Are you cool? It's like, why is being cool?
Are you cool? It's like, I want them to be smart,
right,
and aware of.
And most people are one or the other. Actually, most people are neither, and some people are one or the other, and very few people are both.
Yeah, I do remember one of the bigger culture shocks I had moving here as a kid was like, you know, in Europe, you're just so close to all these other countries. You're so aware of all these other cultures. And then moving here, there was like a map in the classroom that's like the United States so removed from everybody else that like Alaska's down by Hawaii.
Yeah.
It's like, we can't have Canada on this map.
Yeah.
We can't have them thinking about Canada. We got to make them think Alaska's an island. Like, put it down by. And I was like, what is going on? Because it was like there were just like world maps everywhere, you know, in every classroom in Ireland. And then here it was like, no. Don't even look at Mexico. Don't even look at Canada.
Are you looking at Mexico? Close your eyes. Don't look at Mexico.
Don't even think about that. I was like, that's crazy.
I'm sure there's a bunch of little American children that think that Alaska is an island.
Yeah, like they take cruises there. Makes sense.
I'm embarrassed to admit that I was definitely a young adult when I learned that Alaska is the biggest state.
Oh yeah,
landmass wise.
Yeah,
in the U.S.
They make it look so tiny down there by Hawaii. Like, we'll zoom in on Alaska. I wonder if in Alaska the maps are different. If it's like,
oh, maybe
we got to find out.
You could see Russia from your house in Alaska.
That's true.
Yeah.
Alaskan listeners, write in. Write in.
Everybody makes fun of that old clip of Sarah Palin saying that she could see Alaska she could see Russia from her house. But to me, I've been on stage in bombing where I'm just like, I just got to say stuff until it's time for me to go. That's kind of what she was doing.
That's true. Yeah. You just got to fill the time. You haven't gotten the light yet? Yeah. Maybe you bring up how far away Russia is from your house.
So speaking of comedy, I think like you've been... because you have a unique perspective. You're from a different country. You don't sound like you're from a different country, and you perform all over the United States. And people talk to you after shows. Have there ever been any like weird questions about Ireland?
The weird. I get a lot of like, you're really from Ireland, and I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
why would I make that up?
What a crazy thing to make up. Or they'll be like, oh, like I wish you still had your accent. Or they'll be like, oh, you were a kid when you came here. You're not really Irish. My uncle's really Irish. He's from Boston. You get like a lot of that.
Dude.
And you're like, okay. I also get a lot of like, are you really a lesbian?
Really?
And I'm like, why?
Huh.
Why would I make up being a lesbian? Like, that is so crazy.
You know what you should do when they say that? Just like your eyes should widen and go, no.
Yeah.
No, I'm not.
I go, shh. I wink. I take off my wig. It's not a wig. I'm like, yeah. So I get a lot of weird stuff like that. But like, yeah, usually just like, oh, I wish you sounded Irish. I'm like, okay, appreciate your time. Or like, sometimes on stage I will do like the accent, or like my mom's accent and stuff. And so they'll be like, oh, I wish you spoke like that more. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, did you like the jokes though?
Right. They're like, well, you can do the accent, so what's stopping you?
It's like, you know what? I do know that you know Katie Boyle?
Yeah.
She was like, the only part of your accent you kept is how fast you talk, which is funny. And we were really laughing about like how my girlfriend has to be like, this is my girlfriend. She's from Ireland. I come in like, howdy.
Yeah.
But we know that she really likes me and not for my Irish accent. So that's good. Because a lot of times, because I remember as a kid too, like the adults, like teachers would be like, they thought it was so cute. There was like a kid with an Irish accent. So they would always be like wanting me to talk. And then like the children were like, it was like such a weird, like, or like they wouldn't like listen to what I was saying. They were just like listening to me talk. And I was like, no, what I just said was really funny.
Yeah.
So I'm going to have to just sound like you so we can get
Can you listen to the content of what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And not that I pronounce stuff different?
And I see with my parents too. People are just like, oh, like they're not like, they can't hear what they're saying. We're just like staring at them. And I'm like, actually, that was really funny too, Mom. They're very funny, but yeah.
That's and when you're a kid, the last thing you want to be is different.
Yeah, totally.
I hated that about having red hair when I was a kid, where people and the same thing, kids would tease me, but then adults would think it was really cool.
Yeah.
But and this just goes back to like people like not being able to conceive how someone else could feel about something.
Yeah.
Because I would have adult women tell me as a child, they'd be like, your hair is so beautiful. Do you know how many women would love to have that hair color?
Oh, weird thing to say.
Why would you say that?
Women.
Why would you say that to me? I'm a boy.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. My brother has red hair and he had a lot of that stuff too. He has like big red curls and my nephews do too. It's so cute, but it's like, yeah, you get so many weird, I just would see it all the time. And I was like, wow, I'm like, this is just like, you know how many women would love to have your
That's
hair?
crazy. It's like talking to a little girl and being like, you have such broad shoulders. Do you know how many football players would love to have your shoulders?
How many linebackers would love to trade you? That is so. Do you get crazy comments after shows?
Not really. I'm trying to think of the last weird thing that someone said. Not after a show, but sometimes when I flyer for shows, I think because people feel guilty that they're saying no and they're not coming to the show. But I've gotten this multiple times where they'd be like, oh, were you because sometimes they don't know. So they'll be like, are you the performer?
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, of course I'm flying for my show. And they'd be like, oh, I thought so because you look funny.
Oh,
and I'm like,
no.
yeah, I'm like, file that under.
They're like, all these babies are pointing at you. Are you famous?
Well, Helen, if there's any babies that want to DM you, can you tell them how the best way to do that is? Because we've reached our time.
Okay, you can find me online at How the Helen. Mostly, a little pun there for you, or Helen Wildy. It's spelled Wildy, Wildy. That'll
That's
bring
how
me
I
up
pronounced it
everywhere.
at the beginning of the show.
Yeah, that's okay.
So sorry.
It's also easier to Google that way. I'm like, should I be my stage name? No, but thank you for having me. This was such a joy.
Yeah, absolutely, guys. And thank you for joining us. And remember, early to bed, early to rise makes a man healthy, wealthy, and wise. I'm just playing night owls. You know I love you.
Thank you.